Okay, guys, we'll go ahead and start. I'm going to do a little screen share with you, show you some things that people are not in the meeting. They'll have to try to figure out. So you should be able to see my screen. It's just basically a white screen here. I'm going to go to the course. It's going to appear different on your computer. Like I said, mine's a wide screen. Now, I've done this in other videos, but I'm going to show you once again how you can get all 24 sound bonus points without actually having to listen to the sounds. So, and you can start anywhere you find a sound on the website. I use sounds because it encourages people to navigate and scroll around and actually read some of the information. So here's one right here. You listen to the sound, it'll tell you you want to take the quiz and try to get a bonus point for it, but I'm not going to listen to it. I'm just going to go to the quiz. This is on here. It takes you to the quiz. Read up on what it says. There's 20 different sounds. You get to take this quiz 20 different times. So once again, this is what I would do. Now, it's a way to bypass it. If I go to preview, yours, I don't know, you don't have a preview, but you have to take the test. Every one of these, and we've already talked about this before, I'm going to do it again. A few people will figure it out. I'm not even going to read the question. I'm not even going to read the answer. I'm just going to click the first one, and each one is the answer out of all 20 questions. I'm going to click the first one, and I'm going to click Submit Quiz, and Canvas is going to grade the quiz and tell me which ones I got right and which ones I got wrong. It's not going to tell you what the wrong answer, what the correct answer will be, but it will tell you if you got the answer right. So then you get a piece of paper and you go down through and you say, oh, how many of those questions was the first answer correct? And then you take the quiz again, because you can take it 19 times because there's 19 sounds. This time when you take it, click the second answer. Unless the first answer was correct, which it will tell you when you grade it the first time. If it was correct, it'll say correct. And obviously you enter the first answer. If the first answer was wrong, just go ahead and click the second answer on every question. Grade it again. Submit it. Now you will know which questions are first and second correct. Answers are correct. Take it a third time. Click the third one. You would only have to take this quiz 5, 6, maybe 7 times, depending on how many answers there are, to get them all. And without even listening to a sound. But it's worth 24 points. It's you know, it makes a little bit of a difference in having some bonus points. So once again, on the bonus points, you know, they add up. I have people that don't do that well on the chapter test. They do so-so. They might even have a C average on the test. They still make an A in the class because of all the bonus assignments and the freebies that if you want to make a good grade, you can. Even if you don't do that great on some of the chapter tests or you mess up on a quiz or two, some of those video quizzes. So I'm going to stop share a minute here. Actually, I shouldn't have. I got to go back. Screen share. I wanted to show you one other thing. Go into the home page. The study guides, once again, that's the thing that takes the most time in this class. You can find the exact answer to the study guide in the book. Now, not all of them have the exact answer. You might have to jot down a few things. It might say vitamin C is, and you're like, is what? True, false, A, B, C, D. Just write down a few notes about vitamin C. That when you take the test, you'll have things to choose from. Some of them are worded exactly. Most of them, a handful of them, have a little bit of deviation, not much. But if you have the study guide, when you take the test, the chapter test later this week, there's 2 chapter tests this week because this is only a 4-week class, then you'll be in good shape. So go to the modules, Let's see what's due this week. This week is week number 2. It seems like a lot. That's because this is an accelerated class. The assignments with points are due. Well, then none of these have points. This has points. That's a discussion, a video, basically a free 20 points. 15 points tonight for doing the Zoom quiz, which we're going to do at the end here. And then here's the chapter test number 1. That's due by Sunday at midnight. But because this is an enhanced class, there's 2 chapter tests this week. But if you, no big deal. It's open book, open notes. You do the study guides. You can use the study guides in the book. You'll be okay. Even if you don't do well the first time, you have 2 chances. This is worth 3 bonus points. It says 0. It just says that, but it's worth 3. It's not much, but it adds up a little bit. This is a very interesting video. It's nowhere on the internet. I got it a few years ago. This guy's really good at understanding vitamins. It's a great video. So that's what's due this week. This won't take very long. We'll get this done tonight. That takes a few minutes, but it's worth 3 points. Might as well do it. That's the one where you need the study guides, chapter 1 through 3 study guide, spotlight A and B study guide. That's 5 study guides. But if you have those done, you'll do fine on this. And then later on this week, say, oh, there's another one, chapter 4 through 6, spotlight C and D study guides. So that's 5 study guides there. So that's 10 study guides. But if you go to the room, the study guide room, every day from 1 to 5, I don't know how many people are going there. It'll say it's recorded. It is, but I delete them. I don't ever go there. But it's, I made it for the students. Let's see, where is it? Oh, here it is. If I click on this link right here, it's the same link, will actually open that room. But I put it from 1 to 5. I think it's open all the time. But I put a time, just hopefully some other students will be there. And if you find 1 or 2 there, you can talk to them through the microphone. You can view audio, visual, whatever. You don't really work on the study guides there, but you can say, hey, I'll do these 2, you do these 2. Or if there's a bunch of people, you might say, hey, everybody do 1. You know, that's why if you could get a lot of people here, the more people you involve, the less study guides you have to do. And then you exchange the answers. You go back to the room, exchange the answers, screenshot, email them, text them. There's a lot of ways to send them to each other. So once again, those study guides are Word documents you can download. You don't have to go to each. I've showed people this already, but you don't have to go to each module. I'll put them in all in a module at the bottom here. Right here. This is all of them. Click it and you can download it if you want. And print it out when you need to work on the test. They're all right here. And just share the burden. Working 1 or 2 study guides won't be that bad. Trying to work all these would be time consuming. A lot of people like to do it themselves though. I have people that take the test without the study guides and just use the book. Some do okay. Some don't. I mean, I'm not advising that. But they say, well, I just need to do so-so on the test. So if I have my book, I'll be okay. But you won't have time to look them all up. But if you have the study guide, you won't have to look them all up. You've already looked them up from the book. So that's just a little bit of advice. That's the hardest part of this class is the study guides. The rest of it is, I just think, interesting stuff. All these quizzes, I can't go to grades because we show everybody's grades, but these bonus quizzes, 5 bonus assignments, they're well worth your time. They're open the whole class because you can build up points. People have over 100% average right now because they've done some of these bonus assignments. And then they go, well, I don't have to do that well on the test because my average is so high. There's a little bit of truth to that. So take advantage of it a little bit. What I want to do now, I'm going to wait a few minutes to do that. I want to discuss, we talked about it a little bit the first meeting, so this is a little bit of a repeat. It's such a fast class that it's hard to it's hard to go over everything. I mean, it seems like I'm skipping stuff because you just can't cover everything. You don't need to write this down, just put it in your head, because I'm kind of summarize kind of what I want you to remember out of the class, what's important as far as nutrition goes. There are 8 parts of, and like I said, I know this is a little bit of a repeat, but your book will say there's 6. There are 8 parts of or components of nutrition. I'm going to go over those 8 and do a reminder of the 3 definitions, which are on the upcoming test, or I know it's on the final, but that's 3 definitions I definitely want you to remember, which we've already talked about, but I'm going to review. But anyway, the 8 parts of nutrition. So food, you say nutrition, people think about food. So let's start with, once again, I'm going to just a review. I know I've already touched on this. The 3 food groups. I don't care what book you're reading. If it says 5, that's incorrect. The USDA says 5, that's incorrect. The US government says 5, that's incorrect. Dairy is not a food group. They're listed as a food group. It is not. And neither are fruits and neither are vegetables or breads. The 3 food groups, once again, are fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. That's it. Those are not foods. Those are food groups. Bread is a food, an avocado is a food, a hamburger is a food. It's not a food group. Cheese is a food group. It's not a food group. It's a food. Milk is not a food group, by the way. Milk is a food. Therefore, the question is milk necessary? Absolutely not. Even for infants, it's not necessary at all. Now, don't confuse that with breast milk during the first few days of a child's life. They say for 6 months, it's really not that long. It's really the first few days where there's some immune system properties and some antibodies that are transferred from the mother to the infant, if the mother's healthy. If she's healthy, breastfeeding is better than formula, at least for a few days, they say. They'll say 6 months, but it's really for a few days. But other than that, milk is just milk. The formula has all the vitamins, minerals, and iron. Milk is a food, not a food group, therefore it's not necessary. So why do people think it's necessary? Well, because it's one of the first foods mammals are exposed to. It's a food of life, and it has vitamin C and calcium in it, but it's actually fortified with those, which means it doesn't have a lot. They add they add vitamin D and calcium to it just to get you to buy it. And then people say, well, if you don't drink milk, where do you get your vitamin D and your calcium from? Wait, those are in all kinds of foods. And they're not really in milk. They're fortified. They're added to it to get you to buy it, so that you think that you have to have vitamin D from milk. Your body doesn't care where the vitamin D comes from. It can come from milk. It can come from dairy products. It can come from a lot of different things. It's same thing with the calcium. It's in all kinds of things, but it's not just in milk. So that's just the milk industry. Everything it's kind of a scam. There's some evidence that vegans are healthier. Vegans don't eat anything that comes from an animal. A vegetarian can have milk, but a vegetarian doesn't eat meat. But a vegan doesn't eat anything from an animal or an insect, which means no honey because it comes from an insect. And they don't eat insects. If you eat insects, you're not a vegan. I guess you could call yourself a vegetarian. They play with these names a lot. They have vegan, vegetarian, ovo-vegetarian, lacto-vegetarian, ovo-lacto. They even have a stupid term called flexitarian, which means you're flexible. This is ridiculous. Flexible. Everybody's flexible. But every time a professor writes a book, they got to make up terms, and they kind of get using the lingo a lot. But it doesn't. Just because somebody tells me they're vegan or vegetarian, they're healthy and they live longer. Like I said, it's probably not the diet, it's just they're health conscious. They work out, they don't eat too much, they take care of themselves. They're vegan and vegetarian because they're health conscious, but there's other factors besides just diet that go into them having less heart disease and cancer and stuff like that. People think it's just diet. It's not just diet. It's related to diet, but it's sort of lifestyle. But so the 3 food groups, fats, carbs, and proteins. And once again, your body doesn't care where the carbohydrates come from. Carbohydrates, another one-word definition, is a plant. Books are going to tell you the opposite. Dietitians are going to tell you the opposite. Doctors will tell you the opposite. They're going to say, I'm telling you wrong. I'm telling you correct. I'm speaking correctly. A carbohydrate is a plant. Don't think of it as a sugar. You'll get confused because then you eat a carrot and you'll think it's not a carbohydrate because the carrot doesn't have sugar. But a carrot or celery, let's take celery. A carrot might have a little bit. Celery has no sugar. So people say it's not a carbohydrate. It's a plant, therefore it is a carbohydrate. You need a lot of carbohydrates. When I say a lot, you need a variety because they contain minerals, vitamins, especially phytochemicals, the chemicals of plants. So you need a variety, but fruits are not a food group. Vegetables are not a food group, but that makes up most of the plants. So if you avoid both, you might have some problems, but you need a variety of these things, grains and nuts. They're not separate food groups. They're foods, part of a food group. And once again, your body doesn't care where the carbs came from. So you have fats, carbs, protein. Proteins are amino acids. They come a lot from meat and dairy, but you can get them from nuts. Your body doesn't care where the amino acids come from. They come from a specific food. And that's what your body recognizes. So the three food groups, fats, carbs, proteins. You could argue more of this and less of that. It's a moot argument. It's how many calories when you add up all three. You can make each one to be good, make each one to be bad. It doesn't make sense. They do it all the time. South Beach diet, not too many carbs. You gain weight. It's true. But carbs are healthy because they're fruits and vegetables. And especially the fruits, they're sugary and sweet. So in the South Beach diet, people lose weight. So not too many carbs, good idea. You hear not too many fats. Doctors tell you that. Don't eat too much fat. Raises triglyceride level, raises blood pressure, etc. You gain weight from it. They're high in calories. It's true. And then you hear don't eat too much meat. Vegans, vegetarians are healthier, less meat. People actually tend to be somewhat healthier. Doesn't mean meat's a bad food, but we probably eat too much of it. Well, I just went through all three. You've got to have something. You can make an argument for each one. That's not the point. Like, should you have 1/3 carbs, 1/3 proteins, 1/3 fat? Nobody knows. If somebody told me 80% of my diet comes from fat, is that a healthy diet? I need more information. Do they have enough carbs? Do they have enough protein? They might. Even though 80% is coming from fat, it doesn't sound healthy, but how much fat? I mean, if they're not overeating, or somebody says 80% of my calories come from carbohydrates, is that healthy? Now, it sounds healthy because it's fruits and vegetables. They get some protein and some fat, not too much. But then again, if they have too many calories from carbohydrates, you gain weight. So that's not a healthy thing. So I don't know. I don't have enough information. People throw the term health around rather loosely. I don't know. Health has many different meanings. Younger students tend to think it means one thing. As you get older, you think it means something else. But the students very often will say, I don't want to live to be 80. I'd say, well, then if you're 79 years old and you're in perfect health and you feel good and taking care of yourself, it means next year, it's your last year because you have to commit suicide because you don't want to live to be 80. Remember, it's not age. It's how healthy you are at that age. Now, obviously, you get older, it's harder to be healthier. But it's going up and going up. So it's about health span. How long in your life are you healthy? Not lifespan. It's health span. A guy told me once, well, if I have heart disease when I'm in my 30s, I don't want to live to be 80-something. I said, don't worry. If you have heart disease in your 30s, you won't live to be 80-something. Once again, it's about health, not just age. They go together. But fats, they components of nutrition. Fats, carbs, proteins. Vitamins and minerals. There's a whole chapter about vitamins. There's a chapter about minerals. I'm going to touch on them a little bit tonight. That movie Vitamania comes up this week. It's a great movie. It kind of explains what's going on with vitamins. So the three food groups, vitamins, minerals, water. Water is a component of nutrition. That's the 6-year book list. There's actually 2 more. Now, these all overlap with each other because vitamins are in foods, etc. Phytochemicals. Phyto means plant. The chemicals in plants. There's thousands of them. Resveratrol, lycopene in tomatoes, lycopenes and other things, resveratrol in red grapes and peanuts. A lot of evidence for it's good for helping with heart disease and a lot of things. But these are the phytochemicals. Our medicines are made from plants. And then the last one is fiber. Fiber is anything, there's a whole chapter on talking about fiber. They go into too much detail. I can summarize it for you. Fiber is anything you eat you don't digest. We don't digest all of our plant food. Most fat we do, most meat we do, not all of it. But that's why we go to the bathroom. We don't digest everything. We digest about half, depending on what you eat. We're about 50% efficient. Some animals digest everything. There's a goat in the Gobi Desert that doesn't urinate or defecate because there's so little food. It's 100% efficient. It uses it all, which is phenomenal, which means it doesn't take that much food and it doesn't leave a trail for predators to follow. No odor whatsoever. That's just phenomenal. The elephants digest only like 10% of what they eat because they eat grass and bark. So that's why they're eating all the time. It's because they're so big and the food is not that nutrient dense. It's only 10%. But we're about 50%. So anything we eat that we don't digest. Now, anytime you hear the term soluble, like fiber, soluble vitamins, or soluble minerals, anything. Soluble means it dissolves in water. We're mainly water, 60-70% water. So anything that dissolves in water is easy for our body to handle. We can break it down without using enzymes and less stress on the body. Like there's water-soluble vitamins and fat-soluble. Water-soluble is easier on the body. But fiber comes in the same categories. There's soluble, which means you put it in water and dissolves. And there's insoluble, like oil. Oil's not a fiber, but oil and water sit around. It's just a blob, floats around. So anything we put in our body doesn't dissolve in the liquids, especially water. And our body has to secrete certain proteins or enzymes to help break it down, and that creates more stress. And so that's why on vitamins, the water-soluble vitamins are B and C. There's a whole bunch of B vitamins. They say they're all water soluble. That's what the books say. There's a couple that are more fat soluble. But anyway, they say water soluble, B and C, which means basically you can eat them like candy up to a point. There's a few B vitamins. If you have massive amounts, it could be toxic. It would take a lot. But then the fat soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K, they don't dissolve in water. They need enzymes to be broken down and absorbed. So they build up in the body longer, and they can become toxic. The most toxic of the fat-soluble vitamins is actually D. And it's the one people take the most of. Doctors will say, take D, take D, take D. Oh, you need it for your bones. It's good for calcium absorption. They just constantly tell you to take D, yet it's the most toxic. There is such a thing as vitamin D toxicity. Vitamin A toxicity can actually kill you. That video on Vitamania talks about it, but it would take a lot, to be honest. If you take it because it's good for your eyes, it's probably not doing anything, but that's not enough to be toxic. I mean, if you eat a whole bottle of vitamin A pills a day, after about a month, you probably die. That's how long it would take, and it would take a massive amount, but it is possible. So A, D, E, and K are fat soluble. Be careful about taking an extra D, a lot of extra D. On the minerals, the most toxic of the minerals is the one people take the most of too, and that's actually iron. Now, I'm talking about the minerals that you need. You need iron. It's for oxygen transport. It's stored in bones, and there's iron deficiency anemia, which can make you feel tired and that kind of stuff. Yet there's a disease called hemochromatosis, which is too much iron in the bloodstream. So I wouldn't take iron unless doctor told me I was deficient, and even then I would insist on a 24-hour blood test. And I wouldn't do it even after that. I'd make sure, I'd do it several times to make sure I was actually low before I started taking iron pills. If you take iron pills, you're mimicking the disease hemochromatosis. It's very damaging to the liver. It can lead to liver cirrhosis and liver cancer. Iron is just very hard for the body to get rid of. The way it interacts in the cells is damaging. Red blood cells need it. Regular cells, not so much so. And so you put so much in your bloodstream that it overwhelms your system. And that's not a good thing to have happen. Like I said, it would take a lot, but the doctors are constantly doing that with those. I'm just surprised that, and I'm not really surprised because I've been around long enough. I've seen it that they go, well, the doctor told me, or they always say on TV, your doctor says, who? This is a nonsense, my doctor. I can care less if your doctor says. Don't go by what I say either. I'm a PhD. I know nutrition, but just because that's like me saying, well, I say because I teach it. Well, just because I teach it doesn't mean I know. It means I'm supposed to know. Same thing with a doctor. They're not gods. Some are good, some aren't. But just because a doctor says so, that doesn't carry any weight. I need to see evidence because there's so much bad advice by well-meaning doctors and other people as far as nutrition goes and disease. I could get in a lot of detail on it, guys. I'm not an MD, but I can tell you, I've studied it. I know. And I taught med school way back in Texas, way back when. You just got to be careful because a lot of what you see on TV and a lot of what's written in books is just bad advice. And when it comes to like diabetes, high blood pressure, weight, some autoimmune diseases, cancer. Oh my gosh, some of the advice people get on cancer, even by oncologists, I'm just shocked. I find it mind-boggling. I'm not saying I know more about cancer treatment than an oncologist, but they don't incorporate a holistic approach. Some places do. They incorporate nutrition, but nutrition is probably the most important aspect of beating cancer and fighting it and never getting it, if you understand the body, kind of what's going on. So the three definitions, which you've already gone over, which I will repeat this entire class. If you don't remember anything out of this class, remember these three definitions. Apoptosis, I know we've touched on this. Pronounce it correctly, pronounce it as if it's two words, apoptosis. It looks like apoptosis when you write it out. Apoptosis, T-O-S-I-S. Once again, it means programmed cell death. Quick review, all cells in your body are programmed to die. When they become old, diseased, cancerous, they die. They're replaced by younger cells. That's how you stay alive. It's very necessary. It's called apoptosis. It's genetically controlled. Anything that slows down apoptosis allows unhealthy and old cells and cancer cells to live, divide, and metastasize, which means spread, which is not good. You need things to die and be replaced. Cells at the cellular level. Constantly happening, 50 billion cells a day do this. Normal blood glucose level, even though it sounds healthy, inhibits apoptosis, which means 3 meals a day, regular intervals. Even if you eat healthy and don't overeat, that's not enough time between meals for glucose level to drop enough to trigger apoptosis in the unhealthy cells. Unhealthy cells cannot handle stress, and that's the next definition. Hormesis, Hormesis. Hormesis. That means stress that has that causes a positive adaptation or change. That's hormesis. Low blood glucose, low blood sugar is stress. Cells are stressed, you don't feel good, you have a headache, you feel like you don't have any energy. Maybe, maybe not. You're not used to it. That low blood glucose, it'll never go to zero. When it gets low, it stresses every cell in your body. Weak cells, cancer cells, old cells, they can't handle it. They tend to die. They commit suicide, apoptosis. They do this everywhere in your body. Only in a low blood glucose level does it run at a pretty high rate. Normal glucose level, it runs normal, but you want to encourage it to kind of get those last remaining cancer cells killed off or gone, and older cells, and disease cells. That's apoptosis caused by hormesis. The other definition is related to apoptosis, autophagy. It sounds like autophagy when you spell it out, or it looks like autophagy, but it's autophagy. Autophagy. Think of it as two words. A-U, autophagy. Auto, A-U-T-O, phagy, P-H-A-G-Y. That means self-eating, self-consuming. Basically what it means is, Wikipedia has done a lot of definition. Before a cell kills itself, the glucose level drops, it actually repairs itself. It recycles it inside, its insides, not the entire cell, but it uses unfolded proteins and bacteria and viruses and waste products from the cell burning oxygen. It recycles it. It sort of cleanses itself. That's autophagy. It's a complex process, but it involves the lysosome of the cell, which is like the gut. Things are sent back and recycled, which is very, very healthy thing to have happen. And that too keeps the cell alive. Before the cell kills itself, it tries to improve itself. Just like a person, before they commit suicide, you want to help them, try to help them improve and deal with what's wrong. Don't just say, oh, commit suicide, that solves the problem. But the cells have these genes for autophagy also with apoptosis. It's just an amazing process. And it needs to run. People that live longer and healthier in certain races, like Asians that live longer, they tend to have more autophagy and more apoptosis. Lifestyle, heredity has a lot to do with it. But anything that slows that stuff down is going to cause you problems. This is going to cause you to age more rapidly. Your diseases will come on more quickly. You can't prevent them, but you can slow them down. And the bad things that will happen to you, which they happen to everybody, will happen quicker. You can't stop them from happening, but you can put them off by eating less often. I didn't say less. Less is good, but that takes willpower. Less often. 3 meals a day, it's not as good as 2. They can be bigger meals, need nutrients, fruits, vegetables, etc. 2, it's not as good as 1. It'll be a big meal. Eat once a day. I know people do this. Very healthy. Every other day is even healthier. Every other day, maybe you eat twice a day. Maybe you eat 3 meals during that day. That's fine. Whatever lifestyle it is, and then the next day, you don't have anything. You actually get used to it. It's actually not that bad. But that's the way we're actually designed anatomically to eat, not the other way around. It's just because the other way around doesn't have enough apoptosis and autophagy. If you want to end a discussion with somebody that's getting on your nerves and arguing with you about how unhealthy it is to skip a meal, and that's starvation and all this stuff, it's ridiculous terminology, but that's what they use. Just tell them, well, I eat every other day because it makes me pro-apoptotic. That'll be the end of the discussion. Even with the doctor, that'll be the end of the discussion because they won't know what you're talking about. They'll say you eat every other day because it makes you pro-apoptotic. Think about what it's saying. Pro means promotes apoptosis, which means on the day you don't eat, those cells die, the unhealthy cells. Healthy cells hang on. They're under stress, they hang on. So the next day, you have you got rid of some of those bad cells, a lot of them cancer cells, and your healthy cells are the ones, healthy cells, where enough cells die, the surrounding cells need to replace them. So they divide. And what's left? Healthy cells. There's no weak cells to divide. They will weed it out. You don't need a cancer cell dividing. You need it going away. You don't need dividing and making other cells turn cancerous and metastasize, get into the lymph system or the blood system and spread. That cell needs to be attacked right away. And that cancer cells, once again, all cells use glucose. They can use fatty acids. The heart prefers fatty acids, but they can use ketone bodies. Ketone bodies are very similar to glucose. When glucose level drops, your body starts making ketone bodies. It's called ketosis. It's a healthy state to be in. It might give you a headache until you're used to it. But then when you're used to it, it's like, wow, it's much healthier than glucose level. The brain switches. That only happens when you go extended period of time without eating. Cancer cells, all cells in your body can use glucose, all of them. Now, some liver cells, I think the liver has to have glucose constantly. So liver can't run on ketone bodies or fatty acids. That are going to be in trouble if you didn't have some glucose. So you're always going to have some glucose. Your body's always going to make some, even during a fast. It's called gluconeogenesis, the production of glucose. But when glucose level starts dropping, ketone bodies, there's 3 types, but it's a different story. But they're similar to glucose, and cells can use ketone bodies for energy. The liver can't. I believe the rest of the cells in the body can actually all live off ketone bodies. However, cancer cells cannot. Cancer cells have to have glucose. If you don't film cancer cells taking in glucose, they're gluttonous. They use 200 times as much glucose as a regular cell. Where does it come from? From you, what you ate, change the glucose, those cancer cells are taken in. Why? Because they got to divide and spread. They're dynamic. They're trying to kill you, so they need a lot of energy. So what happens when you drop glucose level? All cells are stressed, but especially cancer cells, because they need a lot of glucose. you're never going to drop it to zero. But when you start lowering it enough, that stresses the cancer cells. It can stress them enough. Cancer cells have apoptotic genes. Cancer cells were supposed to kill themselves before they turn cancerous, but they bypass Mother Nature. Those genes, they tricked them. But when glucose level gets low enough, it can actually force that cancer cell to commit suicide or force it to perform apoptosis, which is skipped in the first place because you're stressing it so much that it's going to kill itself. This is actually what happens with chemotherapy and radiation. People think they're under the illusion that chemotherapy and radiation actually kill cancer cells. They don't. This is what happens. When you get chemotherapy in the bloodstream, it's poison, it circulates everywhere, gets out through the capillaries, it surrounds every cell. It surrounds cancer cells too, but it's poison. There's no receptors on cancer cells to take in poison. There's no receptors on regular cells to take in poison, so the cells are going to reject it. But if you put enough in the body, some of it makes inside the cell that it can kill normal cells. But remember, healthy cells can hormesis. They can handle the stress. They go, poison, bring it on. I can handle it. Cancer cells can't handle it. The poison triggers, it doesn't go inside the cancer cell, but it triggers the cancer cell to commit suicide. It stresses it so much that the cancer cell goes ahead and kills itself, which it was supposed to do in the first place. Same with radiation. The cancer cell is smart. It's not going to take the poison in, but it can be stressed from the outside to commit suicide. But that's what lowering glucose level does. It stresses the cancer cell. Radiation stresses the cancer cell. Radiation that would kill a normal cell kills the cancer cell supposedly a little bit quicker because they can't handle the hormesis. It can get some regular cells though too. But that's, once again, that's hormesis. Stress creates strength. That's a hard concept for people to understand with nutrition, especially when it comes to kids. You work out, you stress your heart, you're going to have a heart attack. That's when you're going to do it. It's still good for you. That stress makes you stronger. Lift weights makes your muscles stronger. Get sick makes your immune system stronger, especially when you're younger. Stress that does not kill you makes you stronger. Every system in the body works like that. And the nutrition, the digestive system is no different. You have to stress it. How do you stress it? By going periods of time without food. And people say, how long? I'd say, how much willpower do you have? You need the proper amount of food and vitamins and minerals over time. You don't want to deprive yourself over time, but you don't need it daily. You don't even need it every other day. You need a certain amount over time. That's the key to nutrition. Daily has to do with your lifestyle and how you feel and whether you get a headache and whether you can function. That's about training yourself to be able to function. To say that you don't have any energy, that's actually, when you're starving, it's actually the opposite of that. People think it's not. Mother Nature would never design animals like that. We weren't designed that way either. You think a wolf or a coyote that is starving to death, and believe me, they almost starve to death before they eat. You see them, they're like skin and bones. It's really sad. But when they're hunting, they are alert, fast, their vision, they're awake, all of their senses are very in tune, even though they're basically starving. When you don't eat for a period of time, you actually notice this. I've done this before. You notice, wow, my vision improved, my hearing, I'm alert, I'm awake. I'm not in this food-induced coma, which we are in a lot, which you're not really aware of. Your body sort of awakens, and it's an amazing experience. But that happens in the animal world for survival, and we're kind of the same way. But it takes a while to sort of get to realize that you're like that. We confuse hunger with starvation. There's three terms: appetite, hunger, and starvation. Appetite means you're hungry. You can eat anytime. You eat a donut, 5 minutes later you want another donut. That's appetite. That's your brain, taste buds. Appetite. Appetite can happen anytime. Then you have hunger. Hunger is physiological. It's controlled mainly by the hormone ghrelin, which gives you that hunger urge. It takes about 24 hours for it to be measurable in the bloodstream. So really, if you eat lunch and you're hungry for dinner, that's almost impossible, but you're still in the appetite mode because you haven't gone 24 hours. There's not enough ghrelin to trigger hunger. You may think you're hungry, but it's still appetite. Starvation takes 2 months before you starve to death. That's a normal weight person. So after 6 weeks, you can say you're starving, because that means you could die of some medical problems. But believe it or not, if you don't eat for a week, you're not starving. You're just extremely hungry, but you're not starving. People skip hunger. They go straight to starvation. They go, oh, I haven't eaten all day, I'm starving. You're not even starving. You're not even hungry. You're probably still in the appetite mode. But that's okay. That's just, we get used to functioning in that mode, and that's what's created this epidemic of diabetes and cancer and obesity, and genetically the human genome might be changing a little bit because for the worse, because of sort of what's happening with food and overeating. They're not really sure, but they've identified a couple of genes that weren't there like 1,000 years ago related to weight. Like, wow, where did those come from? I mean, things evolve, things change. Let me give you one last example on that, guys, and then I'm going to show you the little quiz, and then we'll wrap it up. So when you talk about evolution, it's not a religious thing. Some people say, oh, it's for religion or against religion. They'll say, are you for or against evolution? That's like for or against doesn't even make sense. That's like asking me, are you for or against dwarfs? I'm like, what? Short people? I'm not for or against them. What are you talking about? They're here. You live with it. It doesn't matter. It's nothing to be for or against. It's just ridiculous. That's like, are you for or against the color green? I mean, are you for or against tall people? It's like, yeah, I always want you to take a side. But genetically, our longevity wise and health reasons, it's better to be short than tall. Not if you're going to play basketball or be in certain sports. Short people tend to live longer than taller people. They know this. Could be the heart's pumping blood up. Could be a lot of factors. There's more body mass and so more stress. But shorter people live longer than taller people. Go to old folks home, look around. You'll see what I'm talking about. Not too many tall people around. So why is it that the human genome, our 220,000 genes, that certain genes involved with height are favoring people getting taller, not shorter, because nature doesn't choose that. Nature chooses what's healthier, like a faster deer is going to survive, a slow one won't. Some animals the wrong color for its background won't make it. That's natural selection. So why is nature selecting something that's unhealthy for us? They know why. And it's actually not Mother Nature that's causing people to get taller of all races. Mother Nature would never do that. It's man himself or herself. In this instance, I should say herself. The reason being, you can blame it on women. Women are preferring taller men. Now, it doesn't mean if you have a short boyfriend or short husband, you're the exception. It's percentage-wise. It's just being taller, you're more naturally selected, and those genes are being passed on. In every race, even the Asians, they know this is happening. Is that good or bad? Well, I don't know if it's either, but from a nature standpoint, it's not as good if tall people don't have more disease, don't live as long. So blame women. I'm being sarcastic, obviously, but that's actually what's going on. They've actually researched that. That doesn't mean if you're a female and say, oh, I can't be attracted to a short guy. No, that's not it at all. It's talking about the averages, that kind of stuff. Okay, guys, so, what I would try to do for the people here, there's only 10 here tonight. Some people won't even watch this video until the end and whatever, but if the 10 people here tonight, if you make a point to go tomorrow exactly at 1 o'clock and click on that link, if you haven't done it yet, and get with the other people there, you can split up. There's 10 study guides for the first 2 tests. Everybody can do one of the study guides. That's what I recommend. And if you're going to share study guides with another student, that's fine. make them do one of the study guides. Don't just do it and then give it to somebody else. You know, they should have to do one and work it, you know, that kind of stuff as best they can. That saves all kinds of time. That's my recommendation for the people here tonight. Those that watching it later, the room is open from 1 to 5. Nobody's going to go at 5 or 4:30. They might, but you can kind of come and go and click on it and see who's there, exchange emails, whatever you want to do. Does everybody kind of understand that? I'm just trying to save you time on that, working the study guides. All right. So what I want to do is the screen share to do the little quiz. Remember, don't start taking it yet. These things are timed. It's like a 2-minute quiz. So you'll go to, let me do it the way you would do it, because you can't get into quizzes. You can, but not all at once. Okay. I'm gonna go to the modules section. When we finish this meeting, this is this module here. This one's 15 points. The Zoom video conference. That's today. You click on that. Don't do it yet because I haven't given you the answers. I have to go to edit to get the answer. Just a minute. Oh, no. Hold on. I can do preview. Oh, here we go. No. Keep editing. Editing will show me the answers. Should have did it the other way. Okay. I have to do it this way. Okay, so you've got a pen or a pencil. The first code is 356. So write down number 1, 356. Number 2 is what? 362. It's going to be the last answer anyway. You can put last answer if you want. And number 3 is going to be the first answer, 453. So what you'll do is you'll just go and take it, enter those 3, and you'll get your points. Okay, guys? Anybody have any questions? Blurt it out if you do. Okay, guys, have a good evening. I'm going to upload this meeting in a little bit, and I'm going to end it. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.